Yes, this is John from Flint Talk Radio, and today we're sitting down talking to, well, in the studio is somebody near and dear to me. Is my sister, Kathi Tupper, and she's in the studio. Hi, Kathi.
Hello.
And on the phone from Staten Island, New York, is Joseph Aquilino. I got the name correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll get your picture up here in a second. Here, I am like the most, not the most adept here at. Okay. Okay. There's a picture of Joseph. Anyway, both Kathi and Joseph, although, miles apart in the country, have one thing in common, or at least one thing, is they both suffer from, I guess that's the best way to call it, suffer from RSD, and we'll go into that. And anybody who has questions afterwards, I encourage Joseph Aquilino does have a regular, what is it, a podcast, or what do you call your show? I mean, is it a...
Well, I have a regular blogtalkradio.com show on blogtalkradio.com/Joey Giggles.
Okay. And we'll put, like I said, we'll put the link up there so people can find you and your show times and days and stuff like that. And you cover a variety of topics, not just RSD. You also have a show.
That's right.
Plus, you are a published author, too, on a book totally unrelated to RSD, correct?
Yes. I have a book out there. It's out there since the summer. Actually, I put it out in June. And the book is called The Roman Empire versus America, and it's an opinionated version of history, basically.
Oh, I think a lot of history. You're honest. A lot of historians try to pass themselves off as having all the facts and nothing but the facts. But I think there's a great deal of personal interpretation. But anyway, we're going to start out talking about reflex sympathetic dystrophy, and both of you. I know Kathi suffered from it since what year did you start, Kathi?
98.
And that was primarily after. Now the RSD and this usually occurs after an injury or surgery, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now your injury was a foot injury.
Correct.
You broke your foot.
Yes, then I went to the hospital and had x-rays and I was misdiagnosed and it was broken all long ago, and so here I am.
And now Joseph, what was your story? I mean, how did you come about suffering from RSD? How did this occur for you? Was it an injury or surgery?
It was an injury that occurred at work. Was working in retail, and a 200-pound cart was rolled over the top of my left foot, left ankle, and I have a lower extremity RSD since 2008. So that's the left foot, left ankle, and left calf.
So, yeah, I got the picture of you here, and it's like you can see that you have something on your left ankle area, and so in that picture. And Kathi, yours is your right ankle.
No,
right?
It was my left but
too.
It spread to my right side.
No, we'll go into that, because this is such a bizarre thing. I mean, it's hard for me to conceptualize, and, my sister, Kathi, has had it since what year did you say? Was it 2000?
98.
98. What'd you say, Joseph?
I had it since 2008.
In 2008. So there's a variance in time. But at first, basically, both of you experienced basically is unbelief or disbelief or being ignored from the medical establishment. Am I correct? I know Kathi did. Is that your same experience, Joseph?
Yeah. I was ignored since I was ignored for a while, and then I finally was diagnosed in 2009 with RSD CRPS by my podiatrist at the time and my neurologist at the time.
Now, to my understanding, it's like basically it's a chronic pain situation. I mean, it's like, and it sets up after this injury or after like a surgery or an injury, and basically it's got such a widespread variety of symptoms. And I know Kathy's, it's like basically she has intense pain that she can't even allow certain things to touch her skin because it feels like 300 times or 400 times magnified. Now, you have similar experience as well, Joseph, or?
Yeah, I got the sensitivity to touch called allodynia. I also have swelling of the affected area. In the summertime, I have like ice pick pains during the winter time. I get changes in my nails and my hair on the affected area. I also get temperature changes. My affected area is colder than the rest of my body. So yeah, it is very bizarre. It is a very bizarre disorder. That spreads. It also spreads as well. I unfortunately, know a lot of people that it spread on. For me, it's concentrated in that one specific area because of the wonderful column R machine that actually took away my residual pains in other areas of my body. So it actually helped to concentrate the pain. So which is good. But for there's so many people out there that have the spreading pain, and it could go full body. It could go. It hurts people so much that they're wheelchair bound, bed bound. I know some bed bound people. So it's really it's a sad disease. It's a sad disease.
Now, Kathi, gotta get you in picture here. Jeez, my camera's the angle's screwing up here. Sorry. Anyway, Kathi, it's like you pretty much experienced the same thing. I remember when you had the initial injury, they were actually the doctors didn't even tell you it was broken. They didn't think it was broken.
Right.
And then you had to find it was like 2 or 3 weeks later you had to confirm, was it, or longer?
It was longer, probably almost 6 months. Then I went to my family doctor who sent me in for an MRI, and then the results come back, and he said, "When did you break your leg? When did you break your foot?" And so it's been like onset, and mine is spreading to the right side. I have been told by a doctor that it don't spread, but it does spread. I can't sleep at night because it hurts so badly. Something touching it, I'm wide awake. I get depressed. My nails are changing, especially my toenails, and my fingernails are getting that way too. So it's a mess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the widespread symptomology is so puzzling. I mean, it's like there's like the psychological factors. Now, I don't know if one gives way to the other, or it's the actual complex itself, or the actual dystrophy or whatever. But it seems like there's like a widespread of emotional disturbances and psychological disturbances along with this. Yeah, you experienced the same thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, like in the beginning, before I found myself, I say, through my RSD experience, and that's why I call my radio show The Positive Experience, is that, it was depressing, it was anxiety-filled, it was filled with panic attacks, that, is life over, is life over, and what am I going to be able to do, with this crippling, disease? And I found myself in about 2010. I think it was the end of 2009, 2010. And I said, I got to do something, and I got to continue, living, with my limitations. And that's one thing that I've started to do. I've got a radio show. I got my book out. I'm not dead yet, so I definitely am continuing to put things out there. So, people could hear from Joe, and then so on and so forth, and get my voice heard, and get other RSDs heard, which is very important, and get those other RSDs heard is very important because everybody has a unique experience. I have my own unique experience, and so does Kathi, and everybody out there has their own unique experience with RSD because we're all different, And that's usually what it is with a lot of diseases out there, is that, people, it's unique to them, but we need more people to come out and talk about RSD, and we need you to please come out and talk about your experiences, so.
No, sorry, I didn't have my mic up. Rookie mistake. Oh. Anyway, I see Kathi was nodding during the entire time you were talking about that, in agreement. It is it's frustrating too because the medical establishment is totally, and it's not the first time I've seen this just on RSD, but other things too. Our mother, Kathi and I's mother, had certain things too. The doctors ignored, and basically finally she was vindicated, but what cost? I mean, they seem to be. Another thing is too. I don't know if you experience this, but women have a tendency to be dismissed largely, but their complaints have been dismissed largely by doctors. But when it comes to RSD, do you think there's this kind of disparity? Do you think men are taken more seriously by doctors about these kind of complaints for the symptoms of the RSD?
No.
Definitely not. Definitely not, John. I have to say, it's the same with women. Yeah, it's the same thing, John. It's just an unknown disorder that a lot of doctors are ignorant about. And they don't want to go out there and they don't want to learn about it. And that's the problem, is that, honestly, people need to get out there, including the doctors, and research this and get out there and learn about these pain disorders, because otherwise we're not going to have people or professionals that know what we have and how to treat us. There are a select few out there that know what the heck is going on with RSD, so...
Yep, I went to the hospital one time in the emergency room in pain, and my doctor, who was an intern, okay, I'm going to get you a shot. I said, okay. Then I overheard the other doctor, the attending, he says, she's got RSD. And I heard him say, is it contagious? Can I catch it?
See, I mean, it just, the thing is, in the defense, though, I mean, this is like a recent development, I mean, this is something that's like, I don't know if it was documented or if it was, these symptoms are placed upon another disorder, another ailment that the patients are going through. But they, like fibromyalgia, I mean, 50, 60 years ago, who the hell ever heard of that? And there seems to kind of be a connection or some kind of similarities between fibromyalgia and RSD. It's like chronic pain, it's fatigue, it's like, there's some symptoms of this that are very similar, if not identical. Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, now, the only thing I can say is I think, my theory is a lot of stuff we suffer through now is because of chemical exposure. We grew up, you're in an industrialized area, obviously. You're in New York City. I don't know how many places, around you are actually industrial plants, but Kathy and I grew up in the city of Flint, which is a major industrial dumping ground, so to speak, for nearly 70 years, 80 years. And so we got all kinds of chemicals. I think chemicals cause an increase in cancer. And of course, finding the particular culprit is very difficult. But I think there's I think in this case, I think RSD might be made worse by certain kind of chemical additives in food, maybe, or preservatives. Do you think that's too far-fetched of an idea?
No, I would have to say that RSD is, in my estimation, RSD is caused by an accident, whereas these other disorders such as fibro and MS and various other pain and autoimmune disorders are either genetic, or they are caused because there's just a widespread pain in the body, and I feel that it can be related to what's going on in the environment, but it depends on the additives and the toxins that are in the air. Not only that, but there's a lot of foods that affect pain. There's a lot of inflammatory foods out there, and guess what? Dairy is one of them, and my favorite thing in the world, cheese, is the worst thing for inflammatory, causes, which will allow, the inflamed areas of your body to continue to be inflamed, So I have to basically try to decrease my cheese intake, which stinks because I love cheese, I learned that from the doctor, and that's why you got to keep your mind open, folks, and you got to learn something new every day. Because if you don't learn something new every day, you're going to be that ignorant person sitting in the corner and not knowing anything.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to speak up, too, and speak up for yourself. Because I know I'm in a wheelchair sometimes for long distances, and I am very much overweight, and people see me in the wheelchair, and they assume because I'm so fat that I have to use a wheelchair. Then I wish upon them that they could have the same pain for maybe 3 days. and see what it goes like.
Yeah, because I mean, I know there are times when you've had like periods, Kathy, where things are kind of relaxed. They got a little bit less intense, and you seem to be more active, and then it flares up, and there is no rhyme. No, we're going to go follow up with what Joseph talked about. Do you have certain foods that cause an aggravation of this?
I'm finding out that my milk is.
The milk too. Now I know arthritis sufferers, they tell you to avoid members of the nightshade family, like actually tomatoes and stuff like that, and certain other, an eggplant causes flares up in arthritis patients. Are any of those culprits for you, do you think, Joseph or Kathy? Or
I believe aspartame is a big one. Anything with aspartame in any diet drinks or whatever, according to my doctor, the last appointment, I was to cut all of that out, dairy and aspartame. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's hard to cut out the cheese. For me, it's hard to cut out the cheese. You know what I'm saying? But everything else I really don't drink. Like, I really don't drink milk. I'm not a milk drinker. I'm not really an eggs eater. I really try to stay away from eggs because they make me sick anyway. So, there's different things that the doctor is now telling me that are inflammatory foods, So I'm going to try to stay away from those, including aspartame.
Yeah, that's on everything too. Aspartame, you can't buy candy without it. I mean, it's like the trade-off. And another thing is too, there's evidence to show that even drinking diet soda, or, Diet Cokes or whatever, actually could still cause you to have problems with weight. So, and no milk. What else? Do you have any other foods, Kathy, that seem to just set this off more? Or?
I've been thinking back, and I'm not really sure. I think it was like potato chips sometimes. That's why hardly rarely eat those, and they used to be my favorite. And my doctors, it's my family doctor, so I'm not intent, and he's not extended into this information about the RSD. I had gotten a book, and I took it into him to show him what it was, and he asked to take it home with him. So he has, and now then let's try this. He's really willing to try anything for me to get some comfort, but so far none available.
It's like no, was your doctor so easy to try to accommodate you, Joseph, or did you just find yourself going to other doctors?
Well, actually, I found my doctor, Dr. Jack D'Angelo, very easily, and it turns out that he understood about RSD. Thank God, and he's the one that is administering the Column machine to my affected area, which has done wonders for my pain levels. And I have to say that I have not had a problem finding a doctor. Every doctor that I have been to has understood RSD here on Staten Island. So that's a blessing.
No, this machine, what kind of machine is this? Is this kind of a heat, or is it vibrations, a combination, or is it some kind of like X-ray type of thing? What is this? What's the name of it again? The machine that is giving you some kind of relief? What is it called?
It's the Column machine, and basically what it is, it's not a cure-all. It's a temporary treatment for RSD, CRPS, as well as CIPN, diabetic neuropathies, cancer neuropathies. They're trying it on MS patients. They're trying it on fibro patients. It's basically a vibration from the machine. And it's so powerful, this machine. It's not like a TENS unit. It actually hits like 9 or 10 different nerves in the affected area. TENS unit only hits one of those nerves. But the Column machine hits about maybe 10 nerves in the affected area of your body. And it scrambles that pain signal to the brain. So what they do is they hook the leads up to your back and to your affected area, wherever it is. If it's an upper level extremity, they put it in your shoulder, in your neck, and they leave the leads down, in your lower back. So basically what it is it's a message from the affected area that goes from the back up to the brain, to tell the brain, stop giving these pain signals. It's a scrambler. It's a scrambler therapy, and that's what they call it, to retrain the brain to feel no pain. And I tell you, after the first treatment, you will know if it will work for you. And about 75% of everybody that goes in for this treatment comes out with some pain, relief. It even comes out with remission, ladies and gentlemen. I know people that have come out with remission from RSD, CRPS, and haven't had pain for a year. So this is not a cure-all, okay? It's 75%. So the other 25%, unfortunately, it won't work for you. So hopefully you go in there, you try the first treatment. It's a consultation, and it works for you. I hope so. I really hope a lot of people get out there and try this. The only problem with it, it's not covered by a lot of insurance companies. So, go ahead.
Okay, now Kathy, have you ever heard of this machine, or have you had the opportunity to use it?
I've heard of it, but it's not very popular here in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So the big thing now is going to your neurologist, and they'll want to put a spinal cord stimulator in. And I did really well on the trial one. Then when I went in to have it done, I've had it 3 or 4 times. I had to cancel it because something came up. So I figured I'm not meant to have it. So
yeah, it's like it's just, there is kind of disparity, a kind of a approach and the availability of treatments from location to location in the country. I mean, Joseph said this is pretty much common that or at least it's available. It's not available here, to your knowledge, right, Kathy?
I'm sure it is, but with the information that we get from Michigan doctors and stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, see, so that's like maybe that's what we could do as a follow-up show, and maybe we can pass it on to Joseph. We can. I'll sure I get the spelling and pronunciation of this machine right, so I can actually call up and intelligently ask about it. Maybe some medical sources and get this kind of information going, and which areas around here may have that. Which treatment centers or where they can have. Now, Kathy, is there a treatment center here in Michigan that you're aware of that deals primarily with RSD?
Matter of fact, there is in Saginaw a pain management place. One of the doctors has the RSD.
Okay.
And he knows, that's where I started from, Matrix in Saginaw.
Okay, now Joseph, obviously you got a bigger market, much bigger population. I mean, you live in a city that's got just as many people in that alone as we do nearly in the entire state of Michigan. So there would be more available things there for treatment. So do you have to go off the island there to go to get treatment, or do you have a place right there on Staten Island that you can receive the treatment?
Well, I love that I have Dr. D'Angelo's office, which is, many offices here on Staten Island. I don't have to go off of Staten Island, and it actually is a blessing that I don't have to go off of Staten Island to go and get my treatments. Thank God for Dr. D'Angelo. But there are other people around here in Jersey, in Rhode Island, that have the column machine. It actually started out in Rhode Island, and Dr. Cooney in New Jersey does a lot of great work with RSDers. He's actually had people come out with remission, from RSD. So there are a lot of great doctors here on the East Coast that do the column machine. Now, it's all about really the travel and how you're going to pay for it, because it's not covered by many insurance companies, which is terrible, because it's definitely something that works, and we're trying to get it covered by insurance companies. I'm doing some activist work on Facebook to try to get the insurance companies to try to cover this machine. So
yeah, I know that. My sister told me about you because she said you do this blog talk radio show, and it's primarily you do a lot of updates on this. And since this, no matter how long this runs, it's still not going to be adequate enough to cover the subject matter. So I'd really, when I get done with this interview, then I'm definitely going to get your websites and your all your contact information to try to get as many people. And hopefully, this is circulates widely. Maybe some people who are in the dark, who are suffering through something like both of you experienced. Now, totally, some areas might not even have any kind of ability to reach out and get medical help. Maybe this will help them be able to find that.
Well, my husband, they had an article in the Flint Journal about a girl that lived in Clio, and John went to class with her mom, who had the RSD, who has it. And my husband was reading that article and says, this is what I think you've got. So I called and made an appointment with my doctor, and I got in and we discussed it, and yep, it sure was. And by the way, this is not a new disease. It's been around since the Civil War.
Yeah, no, in the Civil War though, I mean, it's like, and back then, let's face it, I mean, there's a reason why there's like people like there's organizations like the group, the Christian Scientists who eschew, they stay away from medical treatment because it was created about that era, and doctors were they're just as much in the dark for the most part as most laymen, and so basically, going to a doctor was definitely often more deadly than just not doing anything about it. I mean, medical arts have changed that much. There is more of a stronger basis of understanding of biology and physiology, but there was a reason why people did have a problem with doctors back then. I mean, basically their cure-alls it wasn't far away from actually doing the leeches, and amputations were the cure-all for almost anything you had, any kind of ailment on your limbs, they're amputated. It's something now we could actually treat with antibiotic, or in rehabilitation they would just amputate. So I mean, it's a huge light years away from what it used to be at. But yeah, it's been around. It's kind of interesting you bring that up though, Kathy, because I mean I didn't know it was that far back that they actually said some documentation that would indicate that RSD, that might have been the culprit. RSD was the culprit. So that's interesting. And the thing is too, it's like, you never know where the next find or the next kind of puzzle piece falls into. Maybe they're doing some other treatment in some other areas, and they find it now this is applicable to this portion of this syndrome, and now maybe it's a major factor in elimination of it being so painful or so hard to deal with. Now, you, Joseph, do you on your blog talk show, do you interview doctors and specialists on this kind of stuff, or?
Well, actually, I interview a lot of different people. Actually, in November, we had RSD Awareness Month, because that's the hugest month for RSDers right there. And I interviewed doctors. I also brought on some experts in specific areas, such as life coaching, EFT, homeopathy. I also brought on people to talk about, different procedures and different techniques, different treatments, and the main thing was that we brought people on to talk about their RSD experiences, their own unique RSD experience, and so many people came out to do that. We had shows every day. We had pre-recorded shows. Kathy did a pre-recorded show. We had a lot of people come out in the woodwork to talk about their RSD experiences. And I'm just hoping that continues, because, again, to get those stories out, it allows people to hear about the face of RSD, the faces of RSD. And, to talk about those experiences is very important, not only mentally but also physically. To the individual, it actually helps in the cycle of this pain. As you talk about it, it's better off that you talk about it, because it lowers your pain levels and it gets the word out there to people, and it gets the awareness out to folks. And seven people were the first timers to talk about their RSD experiences this year on my show, so hopefully next year we could get more people like that. So.
Yeah, it's like no, I think it's just, it's sad that this goes on when we have all these other awareness of all these other more. Well, I'd say more. No, that's another question. Now, is RSD a condition that can impair a person so badly that it causes their death? That I know some people would have that question.
Well, no, because the only thing it can do is cause real mental fatigue and mental instability, and the only thing that could really kill you with RSD is yourself.
Yep.
Really. But there's no real way that you could die from RSD. I mean, like, there are accounts where the RSD affects the muscles and the organs in the body, and in that case, yes. But in most cases, it's just the extremity. It's more rare to get it in an internal organ. But if you do get it in an internal organ, yeah, it can cause problems that could eventually lead to death. But the RSD itself will not kill you. Only you will kill you if you can't take the pain.
Right.
And that's basically the story on that. So.
And another good thing is to have a good support system, which is kind of hard to find, but luckily I got my daughter, my daughter, my husband, and John. But John sometimes don't understand it, and at first he got upset because I was reading about it a lot, and, he thought I was dwelling on the illness until, I don't know, whatever opened his eyes to see that I wasn't just doing that.
Well, I think what it set me, what got me to think about it, too, is because of the, you weren't a very moody person. You never were. And I saw you going through these moods of real darkness, and that wasn't my sister. I mean, Kathy and I are twins, so I know her very well. And when I saw that, it was like, well, there's something genuine here. I mean, there's something. It's not just a because she's not that emotionally fluctuating. She doesn't have that wildly fluctuating. She's a very stable individual. And another thing is too is I remember you crying one. I called I think late at night to talk to you, and I heard you were crying, and I asked why, and she said the pain was so bad. I mean, and it's like that's got to affect you at some level. Anybody, I mean, it's like these people are. I mean, yeah, we don't feel other people's pain, but when somebody's actually crying about it, it's hard to dismiss that. I mean, it's like, I know people, I mean, the government and all these other people want to regulate how much, medicine people can have because we don't want you to become addicted. So they try, I mean, I'm like a medical marijuana advocate. I'm also just for legalization of marijuana. Never smoked it. And we have a show on a weekly basis called, for the medical marijuana community here. Genesee County's Genesee Compassion Club comes in and does a show on Wednesdays. We give ourselves a plug there, and a lot of their patients they deal with a chronic pain situation or delayed stress syndrome or post-traumatic stress syndrome, I should say, and all this stuff. And I think there's benefit from medical marijuana and a lot of these ailments, a lot of these conditions. And I think it's just absolutely freaking absurd that something that I think is not totally innocuous, but nearly so, is so heavily regulated and the enforcement is so fiercely prosecuted. I think it's insanity. And it's all about money. And then when you look at all that kind of conditions, what about what we're not allowing people to have access to? Because we don't think, our government doesn't think it's good for them. Well, who the hell are they? They're not medical doctors.
Right.
They're not anything to do with medical. They're a bunch of excuse my experience, they're a bunch of most of them are freaking lawyers who don't give a shit except for making $1. And that's exactly why they're in politics is to make money. I mean, let's face it, they leave office with a huge war chest. So, I mean, okay, that's my political diatribe, but I mean, basically, when you see people going close to you and you seem to be infected by pain, and like I said, the moodiness, Kathy had this moodiness, and she never had that before. Kathy, you get up in the morning, she was always in the same mood all throughout the day unless something catastrophic happened. And then if after it was resolved, she was back. So when you hear your sister crying about pain and you see that she's like basically just recoiling into a shell when she's always an active individual, you just got to see there's something there. And I just think medical people might have to, and I'm not wishing this on anybody, but I think a lot of times their own family members or friends might have to be afflicted by something for them to experience it, to see that there's definitely some kind of fire where there's smoke at, So, Joseph, now your daily show. I mean, how many times a day do you have your show on a daily basis or twice a week show basis or what?
Well, my show, December is the rest of the month for me. Really, I only have 2 shows coming up this month, but it's usually a regular show. December is usually my rest month because the holidays are at the end of the month, so I don't really put together any shows, during that time, except for maybe either the first or second week of December. So this week I have 2 shows coming up, but that's about it. But other days, I would have to say that Friday is the RSD and U show from 3 to 4. Thursday and Tuesday, so Tuesday and Thursday is the Positive Experience show that the times are changing now, so I will get the times out there to everybody. And Wednesday is the Author's Nook Show, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring on famous authors, and we bring on upstart authors to talk about their books and talk about their livelihood as authors and so on and so forth. And that seems to be a really awesome show that we have on Wednesdays. And as well, I mean, we talk about everything, not just health on my station. We talk about all different types of causes and everything like that. And there's so many causes that I'm involved with out there, not just RSD. RSD is my main cause, so anything to do with chronic pain or RSD is my main cause. But there's little ones too. There's actually major ones that I'm involved with, the Save the Whales, Save the Dolphins campaign. We're working on trying to close down different theme parks like Marineland and in Canada, and we're trying to stop the concert there in SeaWorld because we don't believe in captivity. We don't believe in show dolphins and show whales. We don't believe in any of that because, it hurts those animals to do that. So, really, I'm part of that. I'm part of the worldwide Save the Animals campaign, where we try to save as many animals as possible. I'm involved with many dog shelters to try to find them homes. I'm involved with the RSD CRPS March on Washington, ladies and gentlemen, a grassroots movement that was started by myself and Sarah Elizabeth over there in Arizona, where we are planning to march on Washington as RSDers against Obamacare, because we don't feel Obamacare suits our needs as medical patients. And I know of a few people that the Obamacare has not worked for, who have RSD CRPS. So if it has to deal with RSD CRPS, people not getting their coverage, I jump in there and I say, screw that, I can't take it anymore, and I'm jumping right in, to that. So, because people need their insurances, people need their treatments, and if you stop treatment, that's no good, and Obamacare says, oh, well, you'll get, you'll get all the treatment that you need. Well, yeah, really? Well, ask these other people, these 10 people that came forward to me and said, Obamacare don't work for me, and what am I supposed to do because I can't get any other insurances, because they're closing down insurances and stuff like that. So join the RSD CRPS March on Washington group. That's for anyone to join, not just RSDers. And we are going to march on Washington. Don't know when. We're going to figure that out. But that's a major grassroots movement that was started by myself. Another grassroots movement started by myself. No more career politicians. Sick and tired of looking at these same faces, these same greedy, ugly faces in our Congress, in our government. It's time to get rid of these and bring in new faces.
Yeah, well, basically, basically in this country, it's like Bush 1 had it, then Bush 2 had it, then Clinton had it, and now his wife's yearning for it. I think it's just in a matter of years, Obama's daughters are going to try to get it. Why don't we just abolish the damn election process and make it royal families? They rotate on a 4 or 5, family basis, and why bother even engaging in the so-called thing of democracy or democratic, ideas of, elected officials? I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sick of these elitist assholes running our country. I'm tired of them being so out of touch with us, and they won't listen to us. And then they're like dismayed that there's anger. Like, we did the best we could for ourselves. Yeah, okay, you didn't get this round, but next time you will. We're cleaning up. Anyway, we don't want to make it too political, but anyway, see, that's the thing is though, healthcare should not be politicized, and that's what's happened in this country. It's become politicized, and that's a wrong thing, because that is counterproductive to helping the patients. And these people are and let's face it, the friggin' politicians, they're going to be making money because most of them are trial lawyers. That was never addressed during the time of all this debate about health care. They never went to tort reform and limitations of lawsuits, because most of these assholes who are on the Congress are trial lawyers. So the bulk of them are anyway. So anyway, but that's got to be touched upon, because this is all a connection to what we're dealing with. And I'm going to put Kathi on the camera here because Kathi, well, I can see if I can get you back on camera. Anyway.
There I am.
Yeah. There you go. Sometimes I have to switch from one camera to the next, because the other one doesn't want to accept being on or something. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, Kathi, what's your hope for when you're doing these kind of shows? Do you think you want to get awareness, or is there other things that you like to see happen?
Well, the awareness for this, and then for muscular dystrophy, which is very clear, close to my heart too, because I've had a friend that had 2 sons, and they both died from the causes of that. So, and diabetes and arthritis.
Yeah, it's like those are all the trifecta for our family. Plus, you throw in a heart disease there,
and cancer.
Oh yeah,
cancer is a big one for me too. Yeah, Cancer Society, Leukemia Society is another big one for me. Autism is another one close to my heart. Autism. And there's also diabetes. Obviously, my father has diabetes and heart disease. So, the American Heart Association, and another big one is the American Red Cross and helping people through disasters. I've been a person and an advocate to help people through disasters, especially the one we had over here. With Hurricane Sandy last year, I actually got donations from all over the world that came to my house, so I could distribute all that stuff to the Staten Island people. We got about 44 to 45 care packages from all around the country and all around the world to help aid the people here in Staten Island, and I want to thank everybody for that. So, yes, I'm highly involved in helping people through disasters, and right now we're actually collecting clothing for the Philippines, and we are mailing the clothing out to the Filipino people. Right now we've had about 10 care packages for that. So we're moving along with that as I publicize that on my radio show as well. So everybody's more than welcome to join in with that. If you'd like to send me a care package, please DM me on Facebook, and so on and so forth. And I could give you my address so you can send me a care package.
Okay, well, I'm thinking about maybe writing this interview up, but we obviously just not even touch the surface about RSD or CRPS. So, I definitely want to encourage people to go on, just type it into Google. It's not that hard, RSD. I did it just before the show started and came up with a lot of sites for information, which initially neither one of you actually could have access to when you first started. Like, I know Kathi definitely, when she first found out what it was, there was not that many sites available. And you had to go to books, and you had to go to doctors and see if they had pamphlets on it and stuff, right, Kathi?
And support groups, too.
Support groups, and a lot of online support groups.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because I think we covered it okay, but I still definitely want to get you both in here again and do more follow-up shows. Also encourage people to go to Joseph's shows, and I'll put up the links to that after this is wrapped up. But I want to thank you both for your participation in this. So.
Thank you.
Okay. And
thank you very much, John.
Yeah, so anyway, people, if you want to know more about RSD, we'll give you the information to contact Joseph. Also, you can just type in RSD or CRPS in your search engine, and you'll be able to find out quite a bit of information. Maybe you're suffering through something like that yourself, and maybe this will be that's the cause is. So anyway, thank you very much again, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.